name is Göran Söderström and I run a Swedish type foundry called Letters from Sweden. And I have no formal education in type design really, but I have been working in advertising agencies for like 15 years before starting Letters from Sweden. So that's my background. I didn't go to any school about design or anything really. So I'm self-taught, yeah. That's a tricky question because there's so many things which I think is great. For one thing, I think it's really great to have your own company. I mean, your own company that does well. I mean, that is something which I think is really nice to have, whether it's type design or something else. But I really like drawing letters, and it's I think if I would not be successful in this, I would still do it, like a hobby, most likely, because I think it's fun. And I meet a lot of great people. While we do custom typefaces, I collaborate with the best agencies both here in Sweden and abroad. So it's a really nice way of meeting people, I think, and learning from them. I see custom type, for instance, like a way of learning how to get into other people's head, and try to understand what they think is good. And then we have the retail typeface part of the company. So we do like custom typefaces and we do retail typefaces. And the retail typefaces are, that's something different for me because that's more like a exploration of my own ideas. And I have no deadline, I can work on them for as long as I want. And then you release it and then you sort of hope that someone would love it and buy it. I like both sides of that business, and I try to keep like a 50-50 percentage in the custom versus retail fonts. But it's kind of hard because there's so many companies that want to do custom fonts these days. So it's more like 80-20 this spring, which might be too much. I don't know, but it's fun. Yeah, I think, I haven't worked with so many other type designers, but I'm pretty confident that I learned from working with other graphic designers. I think as a type designer, I think you can learn so much more by working with a non-type designer than working with another type designer. Because type designers, I think, I am like that, I tend to see things very focused and very on details. While if you work with a design director or art director or someone who has a wider perspective, they see things in a different way. So I'm trying to learn from that rather than learning from, I have no really hero in type design. I think there are so many great typefaces, great type designers in every part of the world, both dead people but also, young people. Yeah, I think the very first, which I remember, was when I had released, I think there was something before that, but I really remember when Pitchfork Music Festival picked up my typeface CD, which is actually it was my first typeface, and I had just started the company, and they picked it up, and before that I've been doing like 30 unsuccessful typefaces which nobody bought. So this was like a turning point for me when something big picked up. And also Red Bull in Germany also picked up CD. And when they did that, I felt, okay, maybe this is something I could live on in the future. Yeah. Letters from Sweden was started by me and a former colleague called Fredrik Andersson, actually. He's not part of the company now, but we sort of started the project as a hobby project alongside working on a design agency, which was actually down here in the building here. And I think we were just, you know, fiddling around with names, and I don't remember if he or I said the name first, but when we sort of heard it, it was like, oh my god, this is like brilliant, because it's a different thing also, except typefaces. So we were thinking that we should show every typeface as a letter as well. So it becomes like a double sort of strange thing, letters and letters, you know, what is that? Yeah. Yeah, it's a very big part of the company, obviously. I mean, I think that's the main side of doing custom fonts. We have a few, you know, direct clients, but most of the commissions comes from, you know, agencies. And I think it's that's why also I like the name Letters from Sweden, because it's sort of, if we do something together, if I do something with the Swedish design agency, it's also from them, you know. It's not me personally. It's like a collaboration. I mean, I run the company, but I see it as a collaboration of different people. It's always the same challenge, you know, finding something unique, or it doesn't have to be unique, but finding something that fits the brand, you know. And you know, sometimes we work on trying to find it, and sometimes we just get the idea directly from them. Okay, we want to do this. So the challenge is always to, you know, find that little something and then perform this, you know, in a world-class quality, you know, which is sort of the basic idea of Let's from Sweden. We want to do, you know, world-class jobs. Oh my god, that's such a big question. You know, it could be anything really. I mean, it could be anything from, you know, seeing something visually. Oh my god, I love that S, you know. And then you sort of try to see it as a system and see, okay, could that little thing in the S be something that you could apply to, you know, like a whole alphabet? That's a really interesting thing. So the inspiration can come from that. It can also come from, you know, some strive of trying to solve something which I personally never done before. Like for instance, my typeface Ivar. It was like I had never done a serious, you know, serif typeface before. So that was me challenging myself in doing something that could be of high quality for the world to use. Yeah, 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 yeah. We have like between 5 and 10, you know, purchases every day. I mean, even more sometimes. But you know, so definitely yes, yeah. It's a hard question because I don't use typefaces anymore, so I don't have any favorite which I use because I never use them. Because I have left graphic design completely and only do typefaces. But of my own, I think Ivar is a really great typeface, if I may say it myself. I wanted to do something which looked, and this sounds so silly when you say it, but you know, classic yet modern. You know, so you do something which sort of people see and you almost recognize it, like, oh my god, this is a good typeface. And then when you sort of zoom it up, you see something, oh my god, there's something new there. So I think like this in many typefaces, for instance trim, if you zoom out trim, our typeface, it looks like a normal typeface. When you zoom up, you see that this has this cuts, these vertical cuts. So I like a typeface when in small sizes it just works, and looks okay, and when you go up you see that something is off or something interesting is happening. In the case of Ivar, it's actually the shape of the terminals that are, you know, they're kind of different. I've never seen those terminals when I did Ivar, and for me it was important to do like a terminal shape that wasn't already there in another typeface. And today it looks kind of natural when you see it, and I also see some other people doing the same, but it was really hard finding that flow in the terminal because it's sort of reversed. Most in serif typeface the terminals goes like a brush in, but this goes on the opposite, so it goes out instead, which is a little bit strange. But I like, you know, when it's a little bit strange. So. Yeah, this was this is a really interesting project as well, because it's actually a collaboration with a design agency, or they're more than a design agency. That is design agency. They have a lot of different products, so what do you call it? But this was actually they wanted something that had some sort of Danish heritage, and that G, which is cut, it's typically Danish. If you would say, how does a Danish G look like? People would describe it like that, because it's in their heritage. Yeah, I mean today it's like, wow, it's like everything can really happen. And I'm amazed when, I think it sometimes goes a little bit too far. It's like, sometimes I feel, okay, they did like a website for the typeface, which is like better than the typeface. You understand? It's like sometimes promotion goes a little bit too far, according to me. So but I think it's good when you do something different. You know, I'm really bored when people just type nice words in different languages in a typical type specimen style. So at the moment I've been working with Studio Tactile, which is a Swedish 3D studio which does really cool stuff, modeling, you know, strange worlds and with cool colors. So the next typeface I will release, they have done a film for that, which sort of shows the concept of the typeface. So this is new to me. I've never done something like this before. The thing with variable fonts is that, you know, the basic technique is how we have been designing typefaces for, like, when I started, you know, and that's, you know, interpolation. You do like a thin weight, and then you do like a heavy weight, and then you can interpolate between this and get different weights. That's the basic way of drawing letters. With variable fonts, you can add more axes, so you can get more, you know, sliders to pull. I got this idea that that the trim poster, which is also a typeface that does very well, should move to music. Just like a variable typeface does, really, it sort of expands. And that was the basic idea of trim poster before variable fonts, really, that you have this axis between, you know, something which is thin and which is heavy, and then it could sort of bounce. But one thing boring about variable fonts is that, you know, when you see this, if you come to a practical situation, okay, and then you see how people, you know, marketing variable fonts, they're always like dancing letters and stuff. But I mean, how are these used? You know, I would love to see more practical use, like, you know, behind the scene use of variable fonts. For instance, you know, like a newspaper website. And when you sort of move the browser window, it's sort of in the background, it's just, you know, it tweaks the weight or something, which makes the readability better for the viewer or something like that. And I guess this is coming, really. So the playing phase of variable fonts, I think it's over soon, and we will see more, you know, functionality in variable fonts, which is more behind the scenes, but has a, you know, a good function for typography. We'll see how that goes. I think it's interesting technology, you know, but I think typography the basic rules of typography must always be the first thing to think about. Not that you have the tech and you should, you know, let yourself jump up and down and, you know, move with the camera like this. So, you know, it's fun, but it's not very functional, I think. I don't think so. Or I mean, I think there will be trials of that, of course. I mean, it's like entertainment. It's fun to explore. I'm all for that. But I'm having a really hard time believing that, you know, this technology can sort of replace a person who has an idea and, you know, spends 3 years trying to draw this carefully with some sort of human looking at it. So I don't know. I think the more I learn about type design, the more I get back to the classics, to be honest. In the beginning, I was like a wild kid, just wants to do everything. But the more I learn, the more respect I also get for classic typography. I mean, look at web fonts. When you know, web typography, as they call it in the beginning, web typography. It's the same. It's typography on the web. So, but when it came, it was like everybody, after using Verdana for many years, everybody wanted it to look like typography again, like it did on paper, you know. And that's because good typography is good typography, even if it's on this shelf or on the floor or on the web. Or so I think that, you know, the typography and the design of the letters, you know, type design, I think it always will come first, no matter what technique you could use to sort of bring out the best of it. So, you know, effects are not very long-term in type design, but, you know, good shapes and quality and ideas, concepts are.
Okay.